Hello, good evening, and welcome. We're live to our favorite show, Glow with Mary. Just a reminder to our viewers, you can join us on Twitter at Glowing Future. You can join us on Facebook, and you can phone in as well to be a part of this discussion. Interestingly, there's been a lot of buzz around this topic of this evening, both on and off the social media, inbox, email, phone calls. And it gladdens my heart, actually, that there's been a lot of interest shown around this topic, because it reassures us that as parents, we do worry and we want answers and we want solutions and we want the best for our children. That's the message I'm getting. And I just want to use this opportunity to thank each and every one who's sent me messages, inbox, and phone calls regarding today's show in particular, and all the other shows in general. Thank you. We appreciate you. Right. This evening we're going to be continue on our Safeguarding Our Children series. And the topic for today is early sexualization of our children, both boys and girls, but as with everything else, mostly girls. With me on the show this evening is no other than Bumi Olabode of Love in the House show. You were here not too long ago, so I'm so excited to have you back.
Thank you very, very much, and I'm glad to be here. Absolutely glad to be here.
Great. So, as we all know, early sexualization of children is a phenomenon that we cannot shy away from. It's all over the place. And even those of us who've got grown-up children, let's say they missed the trend, right? We still worry when we see younger children being exposed to this phenomenon, either to their dressings or the way they act, or the language and things like that. So this evening, as usual, we're going to be addressing it from various angles. And hopefully, our aim is that each and everyone that tune in right now or watch it streaming will learn one or two things to help us to support our young ones. Because this is something that can or will actually have impact on their lives.
That's true. So good evening. Good evening, and thanks for having me here once again. So it's really a pleasure to be here. And like you rightly said, it's a topic that we can't actually shy away from. It's something that affects every one of us.
Yeah.
The earlier we start to actually talk about it, create awareness, and look at what can be done, the better for us as a society. You know, it's something that I know, the early sexualization of children, politicians are looking into it, parents are, bothered about it, schools are looking up, for different ways to tackle the issue. So it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about, and it needs to be an ongoing conversation, basically. So yeah. So I'd say very, very, very well done to you for bringing it to the fore.
Oh, thank you very much. I think it's team effort, actually. And it's interesting you mentioned school.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if you remember, maybe a year or two ago, one girl was sent home from school because her skirt was
so short. I know.
And sincerely, I cannot remember her parents' reaction. But I think they weren't too happy.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's always the case, in most of the cases, parents will say, oh yeah, we know these issues, these things are happening, but it's never my child. My children are okay. It's everybody else's children, but yours.
Yeah.
So yes, they weren't too happy, and of course that was where the debate and all the noise, came from. Should a child be sent home? Should she not be sent home? And all of that. Yeah. So
And so it's, again, one of those topics. I was speaking to somebody today, Ayo, and we were talking about some of these things that I delve into, that there are topics that can be topical, if you like. There are topics that border on, shall we go this way or shall we not go this way? Yes, maybe they shouldn't have sent the child home. Maybe phone the parent to bring a longer length skirt.
I can't remember how old was the child.
It was a secondary school girl, I remember. But then, what is our role? Because presumably as parents, we want to monitor, at least be aware of how, you know, our children dress, because that is where it stems from, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where it stems from. And it is interesting, you know, you mentioned what is our role as parents, as guardians, and I think a bulk of it, you know, stops and starts with parents, what happens in the family. And in as much as you cannot be everywhere with your children, you know, you can't be everywhere, you can't be everything to them. However, I believe that children are innocent until they start getting exposed to certain things. And this exposure can come from what they see at home.
Yes.
It can come from the media. It can come from, you know, their peers and, you know, in schools and all of that. However, when a foundation is laid, and I think the foundation is very, very, you know, is very, very paramount. When a foundation is laid, that is not to say that a child will not do like stuff outside. Absolutely. But at least they have some sort of strong, how do I put it, some strong platform to stand on. They know what their family virtues are. That's they know what their family virtues are. So it is very important that we help these children when they're growing to build a certain sort of some values. For them to embrace some values. And if as parents we don't see anything wrong in certain things, you know, if the skirt is short or, you know, cleavage and stuff like that, and the way we dance and the language, if we don't particularly pay attention to those things, if they don't matter to us, there's no way we can help the children in that regard. So it is a lot of stuff to do from what happens in homes. And then you teach your child about self-confidence, letting them know about it is not so much of your presentation matters, and they need to know from a young age the difference between being presentable and having to be an object, or, you know, be
attract.
You know, so then, you know, when they understand that, when you're confident as a person, you don't need all this stuff to actually attract attention or get attention from other people. Because a lot of those children, what they're trying to do at the end of the day is to get the attention of, you know, their parents. So we need to imbibe certain, we need to, you know, teach them certain things from a very young age. That's what I think.
And I think sometimes boys are under pressure as well. Because I remember, maybe not as much as exposure, but for them it will be the internet stuff. And dressing in a way. I remember when, you know, my boys, they'll try to pull their trousers down. And they know that when they're in the house or when I'm around, they wouldn't do it. Like you said, you cannot be everywhere with them.
You can't.
But on the odd occasions that they
want to feel among.
That they come in and I'll go, you're sagging. They go, no, I'm not. Okay. So then I made them aware of how I know they are sagging. I said, you know, if the rim of your trousers are this far on your shoes, in this household, you are sagging.
Oh dear, you know. I think personally, I think the pressure is on both boys and girls. However, the way the society is fashioned, you know, and if we're not careful, we are in a way teaching our girls that they need to prove themselves in order for them to be accepted. You know, in order for them to have a voice, they need to prove themselves. And one of the ways for them to prove themselves is to act what they're not.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of this, because for boys don't have to put on makeup, they don't have to use their false eyelashes, they don't need to, you know, they just put on the, whatever. But what it is what we're doing for the way the girls are being portrayed and the way the society is teaching our girls, and when I say society, I'm not even saying excellent, I'm talking about everybody.
Everybody, yes.
From home to the media.
To the school, to the music industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The people they're watching as role models. Role models. Exactly. So it's like they need to do these things in order for their voice to be heard, in order for them to be famous or to belong in a clique or what have you. And if we're not careful, the girls would think if they're stripped off of these things, then they don't have a voice. Yeah. So we need to start teaching our young girls from a very young age that you have a voice, regardless of your appearance.
You don't need false eyelashes.
You don't need to exactly. And then they're being how do I put it? It's a sex object.
Yes.
So now the boys, they think, oh yeah, we are all that matters, and if you don't, we are the one that will say you're accepted or you're not accepted. So the boys, and what we're teaching our boys as well is very important. So even though more pressure are on girls, the pressure is more on girls than the boys, but the boys as well, the lesson being taught to them is basically they won't have respect for their female counterparts because now they're being visualized as sex objects. So it's so important that it's being talked about, and we need to let them realize the impact that this is having on them, as well as the blame is not on the children. It's very important that we don't cast the blame on the children. I think it is more of us as a society failing these children. Yeah.
You know, talking about the boys and the point you raised about letting the boys aware, I believe, is about sexuality being the core of our being, but letting them know that self-respect is important as well. That's where the girls with the most makeup and the false eyelashes wouldn't have the most boyfriend or the cool boyfriend in school. Because this cool boy, we know that what I'm looking for in a girl is not, you know, how Barbie she looks, but what she's made of, her integrity, the character, or is she, you know, focused in her education, or... But that now, we're talking about teenagers. Unfortunately, early sexualization is targeted and focused on pre-teens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that is the time when they want to feel acceptable. That is the time when they, you know, start to experiment. Yeah. So, as parents, what's your view on pocket money?
Well, my pocket money is good. I mean, there is nothing bad in, you know, giving kids pocket money. But then again, it is what is in place as measured that is very important. Are these pocket money, number one, the age of the child matters. And number two, what is it that we're trying to teach with the pocket money? With are we trying to teach them financial sense? Are we trying to teach them how to save money, how to be responsible? It matters, because when you give a child pocket money, is it to you're not setting them up for destruction or for failure. You're giving them this money to say, okay, you earned this money because you did this, or this is your pocket money because I think you're at that age where I should be giving you something. But what are the things that you can use this money for? It is very important. You know, I'm not giving you pocket money so that you can save and then go and buy false eyelashes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with false eyelashes, but
not on a 9-year-old.
I mean, for crying out loud, yeah, please. Yeah, I mean, what are we saying? That you need to put on all these things in order to look good. You're already good. You look fantastic. You're already a beautiful person. So when we're teaching them at a very young age that they need all these extra things to be presentable, then what's the future? You know, what have we got for the future, really? So pocket money, going back to pocket money is good. But then again, use it to teach the children financial sense. Use it to teach them, you know, how to save for the future. What are things they want to buy? You know, if it's a child, use your pocket money to buy roll-on. Use your pocket money to buy books. You know, use your pocket money, save it to use when you go on travels with your family. So many things. You know, I mean, I've seen a couple of, I've seen some young children. I'm talking as children as early as age 13. Okay. You know, with foundation on. You know, like proper foundation, and that you know baffles me. That why do you think at that age that you need to do that? You need to have heavy makeup on to look good. You're already good. And then we focus on fit makeup. We can also look at things like the way that they dress. The way they dress. And all these things we have to be careful because a lot of these children have access to the, what's it called? Social media. And they you know, before you know it, they're putting their pictures on Facebook, they're putting their pictures on Twitter. And we've got to be careful because there are so many people on this.
Predators.
And once your pictures are out there, what they want to do is look at the vulnerable children to prey on. So those are the dangers involved in you know, early sexualization because all these children, they have access and technology doesn't help. So one of the things that needs to be curbed is how much exposure your children have to technology, you know, to all the smartphones.
Parental control and things like that.
There has to be some parental control. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's age restriction about drinks. And everywhere you show your ID, you know, if you are not certain age, they wouldn't sell to you and things like that. And yet, I'm going back to clothing now. Okay. And yet, in these stores, you have student discounts. And then, so it means if I've saved up, I can always, and sometimes I go to these sections just to see what's there. And they are, I mean, they are not too cheap, but they make them. They purposely, I was talking to somebody in fashion, they purposely make them affordable for these children to be able to buy them. Do you think there should be age restriction for buying, is it tank top?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's a tough one. It's a very tough one, but then we go back to parents.
Yes.
You know, because how do I put it? Some people will say, well, everybody's fashion sense is different. And what is early sexualization to you it's not a problem for me. So, but I think some sort of control, as a parent, I think some sort of control needs to be in place when it comes to the goods being sold out there. Because I've seen high heels for children. I've seen high heels. I've seen padded bras. I've seen underwired bras for children. When you watch some of the programs, they're all sort of stuff. So I think in some places there needs to be some control in place from, you know, the regulators. They need. I think so. So that, you know, we can help curb. It's already a problem.
It is.
And if it's not curbed in good time, it's just heading for proper, you know, disaster. So yes, I think some sort of measure needs to be put in place. However, should it not be in place, I think parents need to have some stuff in place with the children. Let them understand that there is beauty in being a child, in being innocent as a child. That it's beautiful. I love to see my children. I've got 3 young children myself, and I love my first child is going to be 10 in a couple of days' time, and I can there is a difference between sexual development and puberty and growth. There's a lot of difference between all of that and sexualization. So I love to see the way she's growing. I've enjoyed seeing her mature from the child, the toddler that she was to, So there will be a lot of changes, but you need to have some intelligent conversation
with them.
Absolutely, and help them understand what's going on. But when you leave them to and say, "Oh, make your choices," in this day and age, we think, "Oh, yeah, it's a free world. We need to let these children experiment. We need to," but there are stages. There are stages, and you need to ease them in to adulthood. There is no rush. There's going to be a time when they will get to being an adult and they wish, "Oh, I wish I was a child again."
Ease them into it.
We need to ease them into it.
But sometimes as parents, I'm going to be the devil's advocate now. Okay. Because sometimes as parents, we just get scared. Due to lack of education and awareness, which is, what this show is about, to help parents and children, navigate these difficult stages. And indeed, with every other topic that we discuss on this show, is about, putting out education support for anyone concerned or related or can identify with those topics. Sometimes they are scared, for 2 reasons. If a 10-year-old asks for lipstick, for instance, the first thing that will come to your mind is, "Oh no." Or that should is, "Oh no." Then on second thought, you start thinking, why did she ask? If I don't give her, will they bully her? Will she be alone? Will she not have friends? But the truth is, she will still have friends. Because there'll be other children out there, same group, same year, same class, that wouldn't want to go with, wearing sexy clothing or makeup, that she can then, identify with. But it's for somebody at that point saying to the parents, "Don't worry, don't give in. You are doing well by putting your foot down." Which brings me back to society. Are we doing enough as a society to support, to help, and to encourage parents in, making tough decisions like that?
As a society, the society that we live in today, to be honest, is I don't know what to call it. I honestly do not know what to call the society we live in today. There is a lot to battle with. There's a lot even adults are battling with. And because there is humongous stuff that as adults we're battling with, before you even start thinking about how to deal with the children, you're trying to sort out yourself. So there is a lot going on as a society. However, we need to understand the fact that the children are our they're part of our most important priority. We need to understand that. And if we don't get it right with the children at this stage, then what we're creating for the society is going to be more and more things to rectify later on in the future. So I always go back to the first carers. And the first carers in this instance are the parents, the guardians, people who are in charge of the children firsthand. And you said something about, if a child asks for lipstick, and you're thinking, if I don't give it to the child, will she be left out? Will she not be part of the clique and all of that? That won't be my problem. The problem is to teach the child how to be confident as a person, to make them understand that you don't have to do everything that others are doing because they're doing it. You need to ask we need to start teaching our children to understand who they are and the power of being self-assured. The power of being
your authentic self.
Absolutely. That is not to say that there won't be peer pressures, but they need to start understanding this. So when they have issues like that, that is not the time to, to shush them off. That is not the time to. It's the time to have the talk.
Yeah.
Is it time to have the talk?
Yeah.
Why do you think you need lipstick? I remember a while ago, my daughter was writing songs, lyrics, and she was doing it with some girls in her school, you know, her friends, and you know, she'd come home and then she was making up the words and she was singing, and I was just laughing. I said, "Oh God, you're a terrible singer." But then something started to catch my, as I was part of it, making fun and saying, "Oh my God, okay, all right, you're sounding well." She started getting more and more comfortable, and then she was so comfortable. She was, you know, singing out the lyrics, and I could hear it, and I could hear some of the lines and saying, "Oh boy," you know, and I'm like, "Okay, oh girl, I'm listening," you know, that kind of a thing. And then she was, you know, I'm like, "Okay, I mean, just pretending to be." So I heard the lyrics and I said, "What is it?" Then I asked her, I said, "What is it that the song is about? What is it? What is the message of the song?" And then she said to me, "He's trying to prove that, you know, I don't need a boy." And I'm like, okay, all right. So I said,
I like that one.
all right, I don't need a boy, and that I can be fine on my own, even though I miss you. And like, okay. Right. I said, all right, no problem. So I said, so this was me. I didn't want to, you know, discourage her. So I said, why don't you write about how confident you are as a person? Make it as a song. And so we had a talk. I said, because you don't need to make this your focus, you know. But that would have come from anything. It could have come from what discussion they've had in school. It could have come from the media. I said, no, don't make that the focus of the message you want to make it something positive. Yeah. So it's about having the talk when you notice there is something not particularly, you know, aligning with what your values or what you know. It's about having the talk, and the different. No matter how great you think your child is, there will be, you know, that thing they want to experiment. There will be the pressure out there. But have the talk, educate those children. A lot of us are not ready. A lot of us are so busy. The children are running after us to even get our attention. So we need to create attention, and we need to give them time. And we can't be extremely strict and not let them breathe, because if we're always on there, whatever, there will be one child at home and be another outside. But when you create an atmosphere where they can actually open up to you, and then you can have the talk and make sense out of it for them, they will see reason. And when they make mistakes, let them realize this: you have made a mistake. But yeah, let's move forward and be better. So when you start creating that atmosphere at home, it will be a little bit hard for the society to sway them. Yes. Yeah.
I suppose about being their parents and their friend as well. So you will be the go-to person before they go to their peers, and because we always go to them. But like I said, if the foundation is firm, they'll listen, but don't necessarily have to act on it.
You know? And it's very important that we do make clear at this point that this is not to say that even that you think your children will not make mistakes or they would not do, but it's just important that they are
guided.
They're guided
and supported.
And there's little, you know, silliness to say. We're talking about sexualization. We need to actually let them realize the danger involved. Because until they understand the danger involved, they might not see the need for them to follow what you're saying. Now, there are so many clips on YouTube. There's so many clips online. You know, even in preparing for your show today, there are clips I was watching that were made by NSPCC. The child line. There was another one. So many articles and so many true stories of, you know, boys and girls. That there was one about, you know, when one of her boyfriends, her boyfriend told her to send her a picture. This was a 12-year-old child, girl. And, you know, of course, you know, she just thought, this is my boyfriend. And it was innocent. And why? The child had a smartphone. She was in her room. Her parents, this is not to say the child is a bad child. Nothing to do with, you know, she just thought she was doing something good, cool, you know, it's her and a boyfriend. But don't forget, the child already has a smartphone. And then she just took out, they showed the clip, she took off her bathrobe, you know, posed, sent the picture. And then here is another child on the other line who got the picture and got all excited, and then he
went
clicked
to show off
and then sent it to his friend.
friends. Yeah,
Just one friend sent it to his friend and said, "Oh my God!" Da, da, da. And his friend uploaded it.
wow.
And then by the time the girl got to school the following day or
it was
whenever,
all over the place.
excuse me, there were thousands of views already on the clip.
Wow.
And she was thinking of committing
Suicide,
and all of that and all of that. So before it gets to that stage, it's all about education. So those are kind of things that you can use in, guiding the children and say, I'm not trying to be overly exactly,
or fatherly,
but look at this, look at that. What do you think?
Yeah.
Tell me what you think, and what's happening in school, what's happening in your club. Have a talk. It's very important.
And that's a problem, isn't it? Because the society portray sexuality and sexual acts as not having consequences. But the consequences are huge. Apart from the dressing and the sexting, there's the implication of, having sex early as well. When we have children as young as 12, 13, having children just because, now, there are two ends to this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, yes, in one hand, they're getting pregnant because, they're following what others are doing. On the other hand, should we be giving contraceptive to our 12-year-olds? That's another topic for another day.
Entirely. Yeah.
So, so that is why I believe it's, the foundation is important, especially making them realize that although sexuality is at the point of things, but these things have consequences. Like, you talk about language in terms of sex, text, for instance, the sexting, it's rampant amongst boys and girls. And unfortunately, they didn't see anything wrong in it.
Yeah, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And until we make them understand, and until we make them understand these things, they won't see the reason why we're going on about, or the reason why they won't understand they're making doing any wrong. So we need to actually educate them. And besides that, we need to make our children realize that there is beauty. The stage where they're at, they need to enjoy it.
They don't have to hurry up to grow up.
They don't know, but it is not actually their doing. It is because of what is already
around them. So, a child is innocent until the exposure. I always say that. So it's because of what they're being surrounded with. It's because a child sees her mother or his dad, doing, so for example, a lady, your child has never seen you without makeup, and you're going to parties, you're doing all sorts, the way you dress. So a child is like a sponge. Yeah. They absorb what they see, and they start to. So you can't tell a child one thing, and you're doing another thing. And then also what they're being surrounded with in newspapers, magazines, TV programs, the movies they watch, and all these things. So it's about education. It's about education, and a lot of the government can do their part as well, because if they put policies in place, regulations and stuff like that, then it helps to reduce certain things, because there's so much you can even do. You would try your best, but if you're trying and there are other things, external factors that are contending with what you're trying to do, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah. And I think if the government is doing their part and the parents are doing their part, then it works smoothly. It's like some sort of coalition. Yeah. There is harmony. It's not like you're doing something and another thing is undoing it. Yeah. And then we need to, if we can do that, parents, politicians, schools, then we take the pressure off these children. Yes. Because we help them. Because a lot of this then it's not their fault. No. It's because I think it's there anyway.
It's there, and I think it's a failure on our part.
Yes.
As parents, as the government, and as schools. So if everybody's working in sync and in harmony, it takes the pressure of these children. And if the pressure is taken off these children, then they can enjoy their childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now it's like we're trying to tell them, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Whereas there's so many things that they should be doing. But the focus is being shifted away from the beauty of childhood, and it's focused. We're focused on what they shouldn't do, and before you know it, they're not children anymore. And all they can remember about childhood is how they were told not to do
this and do
not
that,
to do that,
and they probably go off and do it, on a mega scale anyway, because they missed out. And I suppose the beauty of that would be, if we ask them not to do this, then let's show them what to do.
Yeah.
You remember the days of brownies and get guys and, all these things. If you're involved in activities like that, they teach you virtues, and, you look forward to it, and you are in a comfortable group looking forward to grow up. Actually, looking back, I think in those groups, they prepare you for growing up.
What's the tagline for the there's I've forgotten now.
As in the Boy Scouts being always ready or something like that. That's Boy Scouts.
And then the girls' guide is now it skipped my mind. But
I'm sure somebody will phone in and tell us.
I hope so. But basically, you're very right. It's involving these children in many other beautiful stuff. Letting them see, there's so many things, and the network is very important.
Yeah.
Who your children are being surrounded with. Yeah. It's also very important. And I go back to this that I said just a few minutes ago, that you can't be doing one thing and there is another thing undoing.
Yeah.
So it's a battle already. So that needs to be minimized. So who your children are moving with, their network of friends, what they're exposed to. I don't understand. I know my friends will say, that's just Bumi for you because she's archaic, or but I don't understand why a 12-year-old or whatever year-old should have a smartphone. All you need to do at that stage is for your parents to contact
be able to call you.
Yeah, not for you to have easy access to the internet, to social media and all of that. You are already exposing this child to unnecessary danger. So reduce as much as you can as a parent. Reduce what needs to be reduced in terms of access to all this kind of things, and educate your child. Educate your child and make sure your child can actually come to you and talk to you about what their fears are, what is going on in their world, because they're growing. So just as we were children, we wanted to experiment, we wanted to feel among. They're not robots. We're not trying to say move, don't move, do this, don't move, but we're trying to and then the more we educate the children, and the government are doing their part, the schools are doing their part, everybody's working in sync, these children can actually enjoy their childhood.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because the focus is so much on don't sneeze, don't sit down, and then they're missing out.
Some parents tend to, like you said, overcompensate.
Yeah.
I didn't have this while growing up, so I'll give my children the leeway. And so the problem then is, if we are too strict, we're just breeding another generation that will, expose their children to early sexualization because they weren't allowed when they were growing up. So not overcompensating in this sense, I believe, will be doing things that are age appropriate for both girls and boys.
You're very right about the overcompensation, and overcompensation comes in different ways. For some parents, it's because they work, obviously, they work very hard, and they're not at home a lot of the times, which is understandable, because at the end of the day, the bills have to be paid. You've got bills waiting. They don't want to know whether your child is over-sexualized or not. The bills will still come. So a lot of us, we go out there, we're working, tirelessly, and because we're not there for the children in that regard, so we want to overcompensate basically to make them feel loved. We want these children to feel loved.
Make up for not being there.
But now, this is the trick. this is the tricky part, I beg your pardon, this is the tricky part. Because you're overcompensating and doing all of that and giving them all that they want and not letting them see the reason, because you don't want them to feel, you don't know that you're actually, in a way, creating some sort of havoc, because you will not, there is no guide anywhere. You're just trying to make, them feel, okay, you're fine, you want to go with your friends, okay, when are you going to be back, 10 o'clock, because you know that you've not been there for them. So there is a way you can still make a child feel loved. Let them understand, listen, if I don't have to work, I will be here 24/7 for you. Mommy's got to work, daddy's got to work. However, we're doing this for you. Okay, so you also need to meet us somewhere by making us feel like this is worth it. It's about having the talk. It's about having a very good line of communication and educating your child. Overcompensating a child to the extent of destroying their lives is of no use to you as a parent, and it's of no use to the child.
Them growing up,
so, and it's of no use to the society. So we have a problem here. So it is your lack of knowledge as a parent that you think you need to overcompensate your child in that way. You need to educate yourself as a parent, as a guardian. You need to educate yourself. You don't need to overcompensate a child. You just need to look at what can I do to make things better. If you need to cut your hours, cut your hours. If you can't cut your hours,
or make time. I remember when I had to work and leave my boys with au pair and things like that. I make sure that at least twice a month, apart from being home as much as I could, twice a month we go to the cinema. When they were younger, we'll watch all the ants film and the car wash and everything together. And then as they grow older, they want to watch something different. So we get to the cinema together. They go and watch their PG, whatever. And I go and watch my soapy.
So, absolutely.
So, and I learned a lot from doing that. And, there are different other things you can do. You can go on a weekend break to somewhere that is not too expensive and things like that, just so that they know that when you are away, you are doing this for the family and they can be together. And actually, those are the times when you can start bonding, you can start talking because it's a relaxed atmosphere.
Exactly.
You may be watching this film now, something crops up and it blubs something that happened in school or something that's been bothering them. And then you pick up on that and, like you said, have a thorough conversation about what's going on.
It's very important, and I think what is most important, especially in our society today, I think more of the over-sexualization happens more in the popular culture. And but if you have a way of engaging your children, so many things that they can do, so many things that you can be a part of as a family. There won't be need for, I need to prove myself through, exposing parts of my body. But then again, this is what I've found out, that the society we live in today, we as adults, the way we carry ourselves and what these children see, especially on social media, that they already have access to, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yes, we as adults, we say, it is what it is, and this is the way I am at 50 or at 40. I shouldn't have to, explain myself to people why I'm dressed like this or why I do this and why I do that. But what we keep forgetting is that a lot of our children are on these places. They will say, but I don't have children on my timeline. But the way these things are people see everywhere. It's a problem. The more of us as adults, the aunties, the uncles surrounding these children, most of us don't help.
That's true. And I think it goes back to us as society and again as parents, because in time past, whether a child is yours or your neighbors, you look out for them.
A village.
Raise the children. But now, it's everyone by himself and herself. And I think that's a bit of pressure on the parents as well. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna buttress, lay more emphasis on what you just said. By we say village. It takes a village to raise a child. This day and age, everybody's like, you're by yourself. However, in a way, the village is still raising the child. It's just that it's doing it in a negative way.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Because it's not so much of what you say to the child. It's actually
what they pick up.
What they pick up. So the villagers now, they're like doing all sort of stuff, and we think, oh, because I'm not saying this to this child, I'm not saying I'm not involved in that child's life, but I can actually see what you're doing, and they're carrying on from that. They're carrying on from that. So yeah, it's still the village is still raising the child. It's just that in this day and age, it's more of negative stuff they're picking up. So we as adults, we have a major part to play, and I think personally we are failing the children, because no child is born overly sexualized. No child is born to, it's just really what they are.
And I think the government is really, they're making big efforts to, do something positive about this, because recently they announced about musical videos that if it contains some languages or certain level of exposure, then there should be age restriction on it, or they were actually removing some videos. And I think that is great.
That's great.
The government can do that, but they can go to somebody else's phone or house or a laptop and still watch it. You see, so as parents, especially within our home, let's talk about cyber exposure now, like pornography. It's sad. And I think as parents, if we see our child or children, watching porn on the internet, how do we handle that?
Okay, this is the thing. A lot of people, like on my forum, when we on different occasions we've talked about pornography, and I've come to realize that a lot of people actually experience pornography or watched pornography at a very young age, especially the boys, that are now men. And one of the ways that it will be useful to educate our children now is to learn from those who've been through it. And a lot of us, especially even from Nigeria, where we think, Nigeria is and we think Nigeria is the map for morality. It's
holy grail.
The holy, absolutely. A lot that goes on there, it's just because we're in denial. So a lot of this happens there in a big deal.
Or maybe we were not exposed to it when we were growing up out there. It, like we weren't aware because it wasn't all over. Now, it's so much out there that sometimes when I go to Nigeria and I see videos or I'm thinking,
obviously,
really?
A lot of things has evolved over time. So even before, when, for example, you could buy, they were selling bras and pants, before they were selling shoes, they were selling, but now you can, at the click of a button, you can buy one. Unlike before, you have to leave your home and go to the market and get it. So in those those times as well, pornography was there. And a lot of people were watching it even back home in Nigeria. They didn't have to travel to London to see it. It was happening. As a matter of fact, it was the parents, our parents then, that were watching it, but they would hide it. And then we would stumble upon it. Exactly. So, but now it's just that it's so rife because it's easy access everywhere. And it takes me back to when you give your child a smartphone, when the child can watch whatever on the computer, there's no parental guide. On Sky, there is parental guide. A lot of us don't use it. And by the time you start getting to the 3-digit number, a lot of those channels, they are pornographic channels that even I skip quickly. I don't want to be stuck on it. But there is parental guide. And a lot of us, we go to bed, we leave the children to watching.
Or they get home before us.
Or they go to their rooms after you say good night, they go with their phones or their Kindle or their iPad and they're watching also. So there is a lot for us to do as parents in order to help reduce the exposure.
Yeah.
But we need to highlight the dangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Let's talk about dieting.
Dieting.
Briefly, yeah.
Okay. What about?
As in dieting to have a certain body image.
Yeah.
Thin, slim, almost zero size, you know.
Yeah.
And parents thinking, oh, there's nothing wrong in her losing a few pounds.
Yeah.
And then it will start from losing a few pounds to being anorexic, really.
Yeah. I hear you, and I think the most important thing is still letting the child understand what it means to be self-confident. Letting the child understand what it means to be healthy, not only in your body, but in your mind. And if a child has gained weight in whatever way, yes, it is good to lose a few pounds because it is healthy for you as a child, as a human being, whether an adult or a child. But when you're trying to lose weight, whether even you're not big, you're not on the big side, but you want to lose weight so that you can look like Jennifer Lopez, you want to look like, it's the image that is being sold to the children. Yeah. Because every model they see on the cover of a magazine, that they see on TV, those that they see on social media, they are saying, oh, I need to lose a few pounds. I want
just to be like
beach,
them.
You know, beach body and all of that. Now it goes back to educating your child.
Yeah. And
it goes back also to what the media is selling, you know, as the right image. Because even us as adults, these are things that we battled with. You know, when we think you have to be a size 0 to look good. But there are so many plus size models out there, and they're, you know, so, but if you're not healthy and your weight plays a part of being unhealthy,
that's different.
Do something about it. So there needs to be the talk, there needs to be that conversation, there needs to be that communication with the child, because if the society or the media isn't doing that, you as a parent, as a guardian, you need to be doing that with it. You need to be selling that to your child. You need to make them understand that, yes, if you keep eating like this, you will not be healthy and you can put on weight as a side effect and all of that, and it will affect you even further. So let them understand what it means to be healthy. Yeah. Not what it means to be thin. Not what it means to be a size 0. It's what it means to be healthy.
Yeah,
and if they understand that and they understand building self-esteem, having good self-confidence and what have you, then they're already having good balanced knowledge on how to deal with certain things. So, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're on the big side, and you go out there, they're gonna tease you. If you're not, if you don't love yourself and you don't understand that, okay, I'm big, but I'm not stupid. So I'm big, but I'm working on it. So you don't have a right to tease me. Then they will be able to shut their friends off. So that friend is not gonna come back and say, but because if you're not already sure of yourself, and we've not helped this child to understand that your size doesn't make you, they're going to think, I need to be a size 0 in order for me to be a sensible person.
The problem then is, some of them are not even big. They just want to lose weight to look somehow. So it's about letting them realize that these people might be thin, but are they happy? Are they fulfilled?
Are they healthy?
Are they healthy? You know, as parents, to help them build, help them know the difference between being somehow on the outward and something different inwardly. Inside. Because I think that is why there's this confusion for them, and they tend to go overboard and self-harm and things like that. And again, you talk about what they watch, what they see, about not really policing them, but educating them when they watch seductive movies and they're thinking, okay, they're watching this movie, there's this thin girl and this blonde girl, and the boy goes for the next one, you know. it's a movie.
Yeah.
And making them realize that
it's being acted out.
yes, exactly. It's different from real life. Real life is actually different, you know.
Yeah. And you know, isn't it interesting that you said that, because even as adults, you know, we almost believe everything we see on TV, and that's why when we read novels,
or enact it.
when we read novels and when we see some captions, we think that's how it should be. You know, somebody will say a real man doesn't, for argument's sake, they'll say real men don't watch TV when their wives and then you believe that as gospel, you know. So so as adults we believe things that we can actually apply common sense. So how much more with children? So we need to start educating our children. So you see, most of the things that you see being acted out, they you know, they're not real. You know, so you need to. It's just all about exposing these children to the right stuff. Yeah, and letting them see, you know, and also engaging them and getting them to be involved in some other good stuff, and letting them realize that, you know, life is not all just about the sexualization. Stuff.
And I suppose when they get to the age, to support them in having healthy relationship, you know, knowing when they're self-confident, knowing that this boy loves you, he wouldn't necessarily want you one kind, he will want you as you are, for who you are, and you know, putting parental guidance and things. You know, we can actually go on and on.
I know,
but time is up. You've got something to say?
Yeah, I wanted to say, and you know, we were saying something just quickly. What you said now, you were saying letting them know that this boy will want you for who you are. We need to educate the boys as well, because for them, they don't know what they want. They're young. Their hormones are running
all over the place.
So they don't understand what they want. They just want you as, let me grab you and do what I need to do. So it's also about educating the boys. And a lot of education needs actually to go to the boys, because the girls are being seen as sex objects in the society as we are. Even ladies our age and beyond, you know, we like being, you know, sex objects. So until there's that education for our boys at a very young age to say, you know,
this is what
there's self-respect, and also how to respect others and all of that. So it's all about education, and I think it's something that needs to that goes even beyond homes. You know, so creating awareness. The fashion industry has a part to play. The models, the mannequins they put out there, they're all size. Even I see some mannequins and I'm thinking, really? Like, seriously, are you for real? But now I think they're starting to introduce, you know, different things to guide, you know, the right direction. So,
you know, thank you so very much. You know, and I think as with every topic on this show, we can never, you know, exhaust it or finish it or whatever. But at least we are starting. And I think, especially on, you know, early sexualization, we still have to revisit this, because there's the issue of peer pressure, wanting to experiment either online or even offline, like oral sex, for instance. My friends are doing it, and you know, they've got a cool boy. Maybe if I do it with my boyfriend, and you even have sometimes girls initiating it, and you have boys, you know, putting pressure on girls to do it as well, just because they've seen it on TV or on the internet or in magazines. So much so that some schools are now bringing in sex educators to, you know, make it part of the discussion. And I watch a very interesting one.
Sex education is good, but then it needs to be age appropriate.
Age appropriate, and the content.
And the content is very important. So we need to be careful. What we really expose this children to. So it's at the core of our identity. But we need to accompany our children as they go through the self-knowledge, self-discovery, so that they will make decisions that will not expose them to the risk of having a future that is destroyed, or having unhealthy relationships, or falling prey to predators, you know, the pedophiles and the rest of it that are online. I just want to say thank you very much to you, Bumi, for coming. Thank you for having me.
You know, having this discussion, because I believe our children are our future. Absolutely. And it's important that we do right by them. And of course, we're going to continue the discussion. Facebook, you can join us, Glow with Mary. If you asked to join us, one of the administrators will add you on. And don't forget, our sponsor Zumba is still ongoing. Again, if you'd like to be a part of it, there's an event page on Facebook, and it's happening on the 17th of October. We've got so many sponsors already, people who've shown interest, and we thank you for it, because there are women out there who cannot even, especially in Nigeria, fend for themselves, and much more worry about whether their children are being sexualized early or at all. Till next week, take care of yourself as you live the life you love. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.